order the meeting of the Elmwood Park Public Library Board of Trustees for January 12th, 2026, 5 p.m. Mr. Secretary, will you call the roll?
Trustee Belinda?
Here.
Trustee Santangelo?
Here.
Trustee Monahan?
Here.
Trustee Narayan?
Here.
Trustee Fosco?
Here.
Trustee Segura here. Trustee Pesco?
Here. So, we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. President, point of order. Can we have a moment of silence for Donna? She was part of this library for a long time, and I just think it's probably the right thing to do.
I will allow that point of order. We could have a 30 seconds of silence in memory of Donna Greason. Okay, thank you. Account balances today, total cash on hand is $239,579. Fiscal year 25 to 26 expenditures to date are $1,688,510.00. On our consent agenda tonight, the approval of December 8th, 2025 board meeting minutes, the approval of payroll for December 2025, the approval of medical insurance for January and February January and February 2026 year, acknowledgement of the Treasurer's Report, approval of the IMRF payment for December 2025, and the approval of the general fund disbursements for December 2025. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Trustee
Second.
Santangelo, seconded by Trustee Fosco. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Mr. Secretary, will you call the question?
Trustee Belinda?
Yes.
Trustee Santangelo?
Yes.
Trustee Monahan?
Yes.
Trustee Narayan?
Yes.
Trustee Fosco?
Yes.
Trustee Segura, yes. Trustee Pesco?
Yes. Passes. Any correspondence for the board, Mr. Secretary?
No.
We'll bring it over for public comment. Can you answer Lindsay, please?
Sure.
Okay. First, I did want to thank Peter for the moment of silence for Donna. Okay, you guys might already know who I am. I'm Sarah Lindsay. I'm a resident and the deputy editor of Elmwood Park Advocate. And obviously, I'm extremely disappointed about the $50 fee. And I thought it would be important to remind everybody why that happened and why the meeting room or the fees were on the agenda to begin with. And that's because months ago, way back when we first started meeting here, in July, I believe, I met with Michael Consiglio and Kevin in his office, and he had stated he did not really, something to the effect of not really wanting to do this, but that there were 7 to 8 individuals who were asking you to interpret the meeting policy as such. Interpret it as so that the advocate needs to pay. And that's why we're here. We're here because of them. And I did want to quote you directly, but I believe you had said that no resident should have to pay, and that's what their taxes are for. And I just wonder, why are we here? Why did this never needed to happen if that's what you believe? If that's what you truly believe.
I believe, I'm not going to respond, but yeah.
If you believe that, then I'm not sure why. I don't know. Are these people here? How come the 7 to 8 individuals get to remain anonymous? Are they here in this room? If you are, you should speak now, because they must be very important to have so much power to influence this entire committee led by you to vote to, because they or whomever doesn't like the advocate, doesn't like what we talk about, doesn't like what we do, is now going to stick it to the entire community. And yes, that does include moms, because guess what? I'm a mom, and the people who come to these meetings, they're moms. They care, and they want to come, and they want to use the library. And, you know, you're running down that list, making sure that this policy doesn't harm any other individuals. What about the other people of your community? It harms them, even if you don't like them. So, I think, you know, you're saying, well, we looked at other libraries, we looked at other policies. There's fees, there's cleanup, there's, we gotta pay for the cost of the room, there's security. That was never a problem until the advocate came to this library and held a meeting here. Never.
That's not true. It's not true, okay, because before, long before you were a resident.
You want to finish, and then I'll let you.
Okay.
do that.
Thank you.
So 3 minutes, so.
I just find it, all these reasons are just excuses after the fact. And you know, if you're saying you don't believe in it, then what do you care what these 7 or 8 individuals told you to do? Where are they today? They're not here. And I think that that's a shame that you would pass a policy that, in your own words, you don't really believe in. Residents should not have to pay for the use of the room, the use of the space here at this library. We pay taxes for this. And I think it's a shame. I think it's embarrassing that, I don't know if they told you this would look good for you politically. I don't think it does. I can tell you, the community doesn't like this. I'm the community, but there's people who can't make it here because of the time of this meeting who are very disappointed in how the library's been behaving. I know that you guys know what the right thing to do is. You don't have to like the advocate. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like it, but you know what the right thing to do is. You didn't do it, and that's disappointing. And I think, I don't know, I just think this is a really bad look for all of you. I actually have, speaking of moms, one that wrote me a message that I'm gonna read. Okay, she says, when we were looking to move to Elmwood Park 6 years ago, one of the deciding factors was the proximity of our house to the public library. To use free public libraries were key years in our lives growing up, magical places that could transport us around the world and across time in just a few pages. We wanted the same for our children, and we're thrilled to have one so close to where we live. We were even more excited when we saw the collection, a treasure trove of books in multiple languages and a multitude of cultures and subjects, and from many perspectives. We have come weekly from the first week of residency, and the desk staff and security know our kids like a VIP. We cherish the maker space and programming. We have most recently the pen pals in Japan, and rave about the Elmwood Park Library to anyone who will listen. The idea that this cherished community service, which our precious hard-earned tax dollars fund, would start charging for use is unsettling, to say the least. Libraries are not money-making machines. They are a public service. If the Elmwood Park Library is coming up short on cash, I'd be more than happy to help with fundraising. But I have heard that the board has deemed it necessary to view this service as one that needs to generate revenue, to treat it like a business when it is not. It never has been, nor should it be. That's a bookstore. I'm disturbed to think that one of these things that has so strongly factored our decision to move to Elmwood Park, rather than move somewhere else, should be so effective. And to hold a meeting at an intentionally inopportune time when working families cannot attend is beyond shameful as well. I'm happy to help source this critical resource and urge the board to reconsider. It's too late, obviously, but I think you should hear from other people who can't make it to this meeting. And I think you guys should be embarrassed and ashamed, honestly. Thank you.
We get Sylvia Roman.
Hi, everybody. Hello, Mr. Consiglio and the rest of the board. Hello, Nancy. How are you? My name is Sylvia Cohen, and I am a proud Elmwood Park resident for about 9 years now. I'm here today to voice my strong opposition to the proposed now $50 rental fee. We all know that our library is more than just a building. It's certainly not a coffee store or a bookstore, I mean. It's our community's primary public forum, or at least it should be. I'm imposing a financial fee. By imposing a financial fee, we risk silencing voices of those who cannot afford to pay for the right to assembly. This is wrong in my opinion. Public discussion is the blood life of a community, and access to these spaces, like the library, must remain open for all citizens and all residents, regardless of party affiliation or their ability to pay for a room fee. I have personally reached out to several elected officials who work closely with the library system. Namely Norma Hernandez. I personally reached out to her. Certainly, I've reached out to Delia Ramirez and Robert Marwick as well about the issue of keeping this as a public forum. They share the concern that these fees undermine the library's core mission of providing equitable access of information and civic engagement. Public libraries should be a bridge to the community and not kept closed as gated communities. I strongly urge you to vote no on the proposed fee and keep our meeting rooms free, ensuring that our library continues to be a true place of ideas for every member of our community. I will also add, as our previous mom in her email stated, I'm willing to offer some free services to help the library write grants so that we can potentially maybe offer a space for free for community services. I'm willing to sit down with you, Mr. Consiglio, to see what we can do about that, and I'm happy to extend my services to the rest of the community as well to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get Kevin? You still want to?
At the Library Board Policy Committee, trustees passed a meeting room policy that imposes a $50 fee on informal groups, clubs, and organizations, as well as individual residents who wish to reserve a library meeting room. Now, there's two ways to look at this. The negative way is to say that, first of all, if the Elmwood Park Advocate had not held community conversations in a meeting room, we would not be here. I think that's accurate. The library director would not have proposed a meeting room policy last year in September that he disowned, which contained a roadmap for policing speech at the library. It's published on our website. It will exist forever. The library also would not be thousands of dollars over its budget for legal expenses in this fiscal year. That comes from consulting Mr. Thomas Miller. Like my colleague Sarah said, 7 or 8 hecklers tried to veto our speech and assembly, but they failed because we held every single meeting that we wanted to hold last year without paying a fee. That didn't come without a fight. I disagree that the current policy prior to amendment tonight requires the library to charge $100. But we can think of this in another way, a more positive way. If I accept what's put forward, that there's always been a $100 fee per hour, then we just reform the library. Through our work last year, through our advocacy, through our insistence and persistence that we use the room, the same persistence that Donna Cleason had, we have a policy that is on the table right now that would make it actually easier for residents to access the library because they would pay $50 less. There still would be a kind of financial barrier to people if they would like to use the room, but those hecklers who got on my nerves actually pushed us to do something that is going to make the library more accessible to people in this village. And that's something that the advocate can claim as a success. When this newsletter launched in late May, it had less than 10 views per day. In September and October, we've hit 1,500 views and 2,000 views in a day. Our traffic is up over 26,000% in the past 180 days, and the number of subscribers we have had grew over 3,000% last year. This may obstruct one avenue for connecting with residents if we don't have the budget, if we don't have the funds in our budget to pay for the room. We'll look at what it takes to become a nonprofit. I'm not sure that it's so easy, even though, Peter, I consider your expertise to be valid. I looked at it and seen that you have to go through the state, then you have to go through the IRS. You need a board of directors. And right now, there's an informal group of people that are involved in the advocate as a bunch of volunteers. So in closing, I'll say at some point you may come to realize that it is not a wise decision to fight residents to have in a short amount of time built a successful platform for sharing news and commentary about Elmwood Park. Thank you.
Moving on to the director's report. Mike, your report.
We have a few things today. I have the auditor coming in, but I first want to recognize one of our community people, Jay Heffelman. Jay, can you come on up? Jay is the owner of Goodyear, and we've had about 4 external programs, Jay, and we've been able to do the DIY training. What's nice about Jay is Jay does a lot of things, but I found something out the other day, and I'm going to have to let everybody know this because I always went by if more than 2 people know what you're doing, you're not doing it for the right reason. But I was at Shriners Hospital, and on the front desk, Jay offers anybody an oil change, and he'll donate $40. That's fantastic, Jay. That's just one of many things I love. You know what? That was pretty special when I was over there. But here I have a plaque for your kindness, generosity, unwavering support. Your help has strengthened our library and reflects the very best of our community. With grateful appreciation, the Elmwood Park Public Library.
And I'll just add, his wife Carolyn also helps us very much.
You know what, Carolyn, I'm so sorry. You know what, we're going to put your name
You're
on
a team, so thank you so much, both of you. Thanks a lot, Thank you.
All right, John? I gave you guys on your desk is a little blurb of the audit, which you received in your email, the audit before. But John is here for our annual review and report card.
Hello, I'm John Wysocki. I'm a partner with GW and Associates. And we're pleased to perform the audit of the library again this year. I'll just briefly go over the report. On page 1 is our independent auditor's report. And I always like to mention that the financial statements themselves are the responsibility of the library, and we assist as a non-audit service in preparing those financial statements. But what our responsibility is to test the numbers and the disclosures and make sure everything's in accordance with the proper accounting pronouncements, and we found that to be the case. And after the independent auditor's report is management's discussion and analysis, and that gives kind of a nice explanation of what went on during the year, kind of in layman's terms. So that's something we're looking at. After that, on page 11 of the report is the statement of net position. And that shows, as of April 30th, 2025, all the assets and liabilities and net position of the library. And that's done on what we call the full accrual basis. So it includes capital assets, it includes long-term debt of the library. So as of that date, you had net position of about $6.5 million. The next page is a statement of activities that showed the revenues and expenses for the year. And it showed that expenses exceeded revenues by $360,496. Next page, page 13, is the balance sheet for the governmental funds. And this is presented on a little different basis of accounting. It doesn't include the long-term debt, it doesn't include the capital assets. It's just more current resources. And so for the library, you had a fund balance at the end of the year of $666,897. And on page 15 is the revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. And it shows total revenues of about 1.9 million, total expenditures of almost 2.4 million, for a reduction in fund balance of 477,000. After that is the notes to the financial statements that contain a lot more detailed information. And then there's some required supplementary information in the back, including a statement that shows budget, the actual results in the general fund, and some information on the pension, on the IMRF pension fund. And then also, I have just a little letter that's a required communication. It has a number of topics that we're required to communicate, nothing too surprising. And also it includes the audit adjustments for the year.
So John, are we getting better, or your staff is getting better? We had the same, fortunately, we were lucky we had the same auditors every year, and they're thorough.
Well, yeah, I think that this year seemed to just go a lot smoother than the prior year, so we appreciate that.
3 years ago, there wasn't any, but now we
Right.
do.
So, yeah, what's quicker and smoother
Yeah.
this year. Are there any questions?
This is a little bit, John, so thank you for presenting to us. Anything else from the director?
Yeah, you know what, right now, I'd like, I have my director's letter in there that kind of outlines everything that went on, but right now, I'm gonna have Jessica and Brandon go through our programming process and how we gather the data and collection to validate the numbers that we're producing.
So we just kind of wanted to go through what we've been working on this past couple of months. Airtable is a new system where it's made easier for staff to go through and input their programs, the times, the dates, what room we're using. And yeah, it's super kid-friendly, if you will, very straightforward and not so confusing, if you will.
This really gives us the ability to get good analysis on programs, on what's working, what's not working, as far as attendance through programs, time it takes to set up the programs, things like that. This is also where the programs do get submitted, program ideas, they go here, they get reviewed. This does have back-end set up, so people get emails back on what's the programming, when the program's ready to be set up. It's really just a software system that allows just here to be one step ahead. This is something that we will use going forward, and not only does it do programming, but we can visualize our data in different ways we haven't thought of before to get better insights. We can set a bunch of internal forms so we can feedback and events. And really, I'm hoping that we can build this into something that is just the end all be all for the library. We will here for anything you need.
And then don't plan, we go 3 months ahead. So because of the newsletter and everything, so we make sure that we complete 3 months always ahead. And then they're able to use this information to do the quarterly pamphlet newsletter that we're doing now. and also the monthly. What's good about this all ties out to the IPLA report, which is important. And I'm able to slice and dice and see exactly what's going on. And staff looks at it the majority of the time. And again, we see what works, what doesn't work, and what are more popular. And especially over, we have data, I have data for 3 years. And what's interesting is when we start looking at, the programs from 1 year to the next, I'm especially looking for one program to see if we've had a decline in popular program, American Girl Doll. So we're going to see how that continually trends. But, we do have some programs that don't work. So this is what we do, and we track external. We track all the events that go on at the library. So,
Awesome stuff.
so the future, will share charts and all the data. Getting back to I just got a couple comments on the director's report. A couple things I wanted to bring up on the levy and the budget. Shortly, we're going to have a budget meeting, but I can tell you this, the reason we haven't had one yet, I mean, we're okay time-wise. As some of us know, the property taxes are in arrears, so we know how much money we'll have to spend. Right now, we're calculating out what we're going to appropriate. So, for example, the money that we're going to receive in 26, 27 are dollars that hopefully get collected from last year. So that's the balancing act that we do, and then we still haven't received any funds from the county yet. So that's one of the main things, and I will send out the data that we have right now. But the president and I are going to meet with the village first, just to get an idea, because again, our tax rate dollars, our percentages are much lower than surrounding areas, and that might have to be adjusted. I mean, this library has been the same since 1954, and it's never really had a voice at Village Hall when it came time to look at the library and improve the library. We're going to pick up about $75,000 worth of free furniture tomorrow. We've had over 100,000 this year. The cubes, everything that we have, I'll be more than happy to send it out to everybody, but we're constantly scavenging other libraries. One of the arguments that I'm going to explain to the village, and it's there's about 10 libraries that I visited, and I can tell you the 10 libraries I visited are all newer libraries than ours. But all of them are going through extensive capital improvements in the building. I'm not saying we need it, but some of shelving units, portable, moving things around. I mean, we've rearranged everything. I'm hoping the state releases some of the funding for our Makerspace History Room and the expansion of the Imaginarium and Children's Room moving forward. But the main thing is that at this budget time and the budget meeting that we're going to have, I am going to have to convey what we're going to need over the next 5 years. I mean, the stacks are fine. Everybody else replaces them. To me, they're fine. If I had to say anything, really, it would be the smaller bookshelves for the children that are more movable and mobile around. And that's really what we need. And more space. But that's difficult that it is. But again, we'll have a conference room on that side of the building where periodicals will be. That'll be a glass enclosed area. The Parentina room is going to be under repair because, again, the walls, the wallpaper and everything, and the carpet, we do have funds for that. We're going to be doing some cleanup and repairs down in the basement, reorganizing the storage areas. I mean, I have 3 people sharing my office, and we have multiple people, so just trying to create more workable space. And some of this modular furniture that's coming out, especially for DVDs and book displays. worked great. So stay tuned. But that's what I have in my report, other than what I've described on the programming that occurred in the month of December.
Is that all?
That's it.
That's it. All right, let's moving on. Any building committee report for tonight?
No, nothing new.
Trustees and D'Angelo, what about BGPP? I know we have items coming up. Anything else to report? The items that you got out of committee will come in under the new business.
Nothing else to report.
Trustee Segura, Finance?
There's nothing to report after the committee reviewed the finances.
Thank you. All right, moving on to new business. I would like to, do I have to motion to change the order of this? To go back to the meeting? Have a motion to address the policy review and possible actions item first.
So moved.
A second.
Trustee Fosco, seconded by trustee Belinda. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so can I have a motion to table the policy review and possible actions in all the listed policies underneath that section? Except for the board consideration. Tabling, can I table the policies that are listed, the Board of Trust? Do I have a motion to table the Board of Trustee bylaws policy, or Board of Trustee bylaws, Freedom of Information Act policy, cash application procedures, petty cash policy, transparency and communication policy, credit card policy, purchasing, contracting policy, training, professional development policy, animals in the library policy, and identity protection policy?
So moved.
Trustee Fosco, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by trustee Santangelo. And discussions on that. So there's a few trustees here that weren't here and don't have the policies. So let's vote on those on the next meeting, table it for the next meeting so they have a chance to look at the policies.
They all received the booklet.
We've had the policies.
They had the policy,
In the regular board meeting packet.
but they all got a copy of the BGP.
Are you, trustee Santangelo and trustee Narayan, have you had a chance to review the policies?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, all right, then, do you want to, are you okay to amend your
I'm
motion?
okay to amend the motion.
To leave it in order as it is? All
So
right,
moved,
what
Mr.
about you?
President.
That's fine.
Thank you.
I read them all day yesterday.
All those in favor of amending that to leave it in the same order, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Meeting room policy, do I have a motion? Let's see this. Do I have a motion to accept the meeting room policy presented in the board and recommended by the BGPP, with the exception of, under the fees section, striking the word fee after are not charged a room rental fee with deposit, replacing it with deposit, and under the first bullet point for the fee for profit organizations and groups not qualifying as nonprofit entities described above, pay $50 per instance, shall be required to post a deposit in the amount of $50 per instance. Their deposit will be refunded after the use, provided that no damage to the facility has occurred.
So moved, Mr. President.
Trustee Fosco,
I'll second.
trustee Belinda, and discussion on that. So I'll start with the first discussion. Number one, the reason why we're changing this policy, if you recall, was not being enforced. It's always been the policy. It's always been that way.
Correct.
Since the advocacy group came in, we found out as a board that it wasn't being enforced. And that's why all this trouble came. And our costs for doing this, to your point in the BGBP meeting, trustee Monahan, yes, we are not a for-profit. We wouldn't necessarily get a profit for it, but we do need to cover our costs. There can be difference in costs, as you've heard me mention this before, and you heard Director Consiglio say, it's $65. That's not a cost we incur just doing one book or two books, and that's across the board for when you're doing any book. There's cents on each book, versus a big hit for just one meeting. But a lot of the reason around that fee too is not only the cost, but also so you don't get abuse of the road. So I think in us lowering this to $50 and making it a deposit that's refundable, that way if somebody doesn't show up, or has one person showed up and they have this massive room they keep doing, it's taking it out of the inventory for anybody else to book too. So that'll save us, I think, from future abuse of the room, so that other people can use it. And I happen to agree, yes, we should be a library that allows the public to use our rooms. And this is the changes that the BGPP are suggesting on this, tighten up the policy and clarify some of the things. A good example is the subjectivity of the waiver of the deposit for nonprofit organizations. It was kind of subjective. So that's tightening that up by saying you must have it if you want to avoid paying that deposit. And then there was another verbiage change too, just to clarify that we are a permitted, some of the permitted use items that we have on here. And also there was one other section that changed on here, if I recall, under exclusions. Not under exclusions, sorry, forgive me, I have it highlighted here. Under, where's it, Tom, on the, where we clarified the language for, you can't charge admin, or application, not application fee, admittance fee.
No, it's free.
The people have it, people use it.
You know what I'm talking about, yeah. Yeah.
It's in there.
But that was one change too in the policy too that came
Yeah.
from the BGPP. That's probably why. Here it is. It's under public participation. In a limited public forum, and that's the verbiage I was looking for. All meeting rooms used by community members must be open to the public, and we didn't have, with attendance being free of charge, we said they cannot charge, and they cannot be charged. Well, that was kind of unclear. It sounds like you're going to charge your organization. This just clarifies. It says the attendance cannot be charged for. It stands to reason. If you're a nonprofit, you're not going to charge for attendance, although that can be subjective too.
We're charging for attendance, though, to be clear.
But the organization that's renting the room,
Yeah.
if we're letting them have the room, they shouldn't be charging for attendance.
Agreed.
And I would clarify, if you don't mind, that under the motion that President Pesco just made, there wouldn't be any charge at all, it would just be
I was very confused
It's a
about that.
deposit,
Yeah.
No.
and you
Yeah.
don't have to pay the deposit if you're a nonprofit.
So now we're not paying the fee, it's a deposit only?
It's a
It's
deposit.
a deposit only. So, again, deposit only and no fee.
That's the proposal on it.
That's the proposal that's on the table right now.
So this is a new proposal, unrelated
Yes.
to what was
Yes.
discussed
I
an
don't-
hour ago.
I don't get that, because we were gonna charge a fee, now all of a sudden it's a deposit.
We discussed it. It's gonna be, that's the motion that's gonna be on the table, is that it's just a $50 deposit. It's refundable if there's no damage to the room.
There's
I
a
think-
motion on the table. You guys can go back to the $50 fee.
I think
You
it's,
can propose something else.
I think it's fair, and Bruce, you being the elder stateswoman on the board, I know you can go back many moons ago where there was charging
We charge for everything.
for everything. I know I've paid myself for different organizations when I've had to use it. Times have changed, I guess, so lesser of two evils. Put a deposit down, there's no damage to the room, you get the deposit back. Am I reading that correctly?
Cash
Mr. President?
deposit, credit card, we gotta define it.
I guess we could go with all of the above. If somebody wants to give you cash, you give the cash back. If somebody wants to give you a check, give the check back. If they want to give you a credit card, we'll refund the credit card. Obviously, if there's credit card, there's fees involved, so we might want to, charge a fee if it's with a credit card, just because we're not looking to, if they're giving a deposit and it's going to cost us money to take it and give it back, to cover the fees, but
Mr. Becker, you have an opinion on it?
The only concern I have, it makes sense, my only concern is knowing the community that we have. If I have 4 people call in for a meeting on one day, it's too much on me that I have to make the decision. I wanted the policy to be that I don't have to make it.
Whoever gets their application in with their,
Yeah.
sorry, this is above me. Whoever gets their deposit in and their application in, it goes in that order.
That's fine, as long as we document it, I don't know, we'll follow the script, that's all, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, then and as far as the forms of payment, should we put that in the policy?
Yeah.
Cash or credit card?
Or be a fee, we'll have to figure out the credit card, because why should somebody have to pay it?
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
I think I would just leave it as a deposit, and if you charge if somebody comes in using a credit card, there's a transaction charge that we're gonna pay, and somebody says they're gonna pay, and that seems to be a waste of money. So I would take a personal check or $50 or whatever, and just hold it. The easiest way would be somebody just gives you a personal check, just hold it, and then you give it, don't cash it, and give it back when you're done. That would be the simplest way. I don't think we need to spell that out in the policy. We can leave that to just common sense.
Just leave it general? Any other thoughts or comments?
I appreciate that it is no longer going to be a fee. I don't know why that was decided after the committee meeting that it was decided it would be a fee, but I think we should still take it one step further and just skip the deposit. It seems like more trouble than it's worth.
I agree.
I'm just saying. I know. I'm audacious. It's just there's just no. Just skip it.
If something
happens, then charge them.
If something happens, we have to have some way to recoup some of the cost. That's fair.
Well,
it is. But you could just,
somebody,
you could put something in there like
Can
if
I
there's
make a
damage.
suggestion too, and I'm sorry if I'm speaking out of turn. That's a concern that maybe can be addressed later if we get to be a year from now. We've taken the same $50 check and handed it back to the same. Maybe we can have something where it says after a certain number of meetings without incident, we'll waive the fee.
But again, if you have the 501c3 status, you don't have to worry about it. Right. This is in case something happens.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We don't keep going through that.
And also, Trustee Monahan, if there's other organizations that come in here and want to use it, and they tear up the room, and you don't know them, Adam, they're not in the community or whatever, then we're protected for that too.
We would know who they are.
Or let's say somebody in the community does use it and they don't show up 3 meetings in a row. Now they've taken that room and they put it away from everybody else to use, and that's one way to make sure they're going to use the room.
It's a commitment. It's a commitment. When you put
someone
money
not
down,
showing
you're
up 3
committing
times in a
more.
row, it's just like a program. We can put a policy together for that. I have to agree with Trustee Monahan on taking a deposit. Again, it was already explained here. I was informed that once you fill out a form, then that's golden. They're gonna follow the rules of the library. So what's gonna happen?
Well,
if everybody agrees to that, and if you have a library card, and what I said, one argument doesn't hold well. I think it's a waste of time to take in a deposit. I think what we could do is put in something in there that a deposit may be required. Now, say a group that's a repeated group that comes or advocate, whatever. I'm not going to every month go through the process of taking a deposit.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't see it. I believe that's a waste of money.
But if it's a policy, then you are. So let's just skip it from the policy, like you're saying.
Well, I said I could ask for a deposit.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, leave the language that
Make a
way.
suggestion. I think it's a bad idea to have a situation where some people you ask, you require
Yes.
a deposit, and some people you
100%.
That's kind of the
either
situation.
do it or
Yeah.
don't do it. And I don't think it's a real burden. Someone has to fill out a form to get the room anyway, right? So they clip a check to it, and now you know they're serious, you know they're gonna come.
I've never had a check in my life.
It makes sense to me.
I've never had a paper check in my life.
The rest of us.
No. I'm 40 years old. I mean, I've never had a check.
Guess I'm showing my age.
I guess I'm showing my age too, I guess.
It's just an idea.
No, I get it. I don't
Just
mean.
trying to help.
I know. I appreciate that.
Trustee
Just
Spur, any thoughts on it before I call the question?
I mean, I'm not opposed to the deposit idea. I could support having a deposit.
Trustee Boswell, anything else?
No.
Trustee Delantis?
I think a deposit is a little secured.
I agree.
Trustee Meyer? Trustee Monahan, any additional comments?
we should ask for a deposit to enter the library if we're going to do that.
Trustee Santana?
I think we should have the fee, but then I may be the only person.
All right. We've had some discussion. I called it. Anybody want to call the question? Okay, I'll call the question. Can you please call the question in the roll call form?
Trustee Balundis,
Yes.
Trustee Santana.
No.
Trustee Monahan,
No.
Trustee Narayan,
Yes.
Trustee Fosco,
Yes.
Trustee Segura, yes. Trustee Pesco.
Yes. Motion passes.
Motion passes.
Okay, you have the verbiage. All right, moving on to the additional policies. So do I have a motion to accept the changes to the Board of Trustee bylaws for the additional clarifications, the new Freedom of Information Act policy, the cash application procedures, the petty cash policy, the transparency communication policies, the credit card policy, the purchasing and contracting policy, the training and professional development policy, animals in the library policy, and the identity protection policy as
I'll make the motion. I'll
Trustee
second.
Santangelo, Trustee Narayan. Any discussion on those?
No, I've read them all day yesterday.
So, but there was what's recommended from the BGPP on
Right, for the secretary.
Correct.
yes. So I don't think Trustee Narayan, I don't think you were here for that.
Yeah. I can show you that if you want. There was one amendment to the board bylaws.
Yeah, we have, you were here for that one.
Yeah, but she was.
SK wasn't.
SK was.
I'm the one who said it. They just mentioned to include read all correspondence presented at board meetings. This is the current one, and that line was left off of the new one, so it's putting it back on there.
It's not all correspondence.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Some.
Yeah, it was a longer discussion. That was a summary of the discussion. Sorry.
Summary of correspondence.
Yeah. Believe the verbiage is identify and summarize communications directed to the board and communicate this during the board meeting.
Motion with the changes, sir.
We've already got a motion by Trustee Santana, Trustee Narayan. On the table. So any other discussion on those policies and procedures? No? All right. Secretary, will you call the question?
Trustee Balundis,
Yes.
Trustee Santana.
Yes.
Trustee Monahan,
Yes.
Trustee Narayan.
Yes.
Trustee Fosco,
Yes.
Trustee Segura, yes. Trustee Pesco.
Yes. Motion carries.
Motion.
Do I have a motion for the approval of a request to the Village of Elmwood Park for a January fund transfer necessary to support payroll, benefits, insurance, and general operations for February 2026?
I'll make,
Trustee Fosco,
I'll second.
Trustee Santangelo, second. So a little discussion on this. So this is so we can pay our bills, since the tax levy money did not come in. This is the official request to the village to loan us the money until the tax revenue comes in.
And there's been stuff in the news that we haven't heard a date yet, Mike.
No, they keep on saying they're gonna release X amount, I forget what it was, it was a lot of money. But we haven't seen it.
But everybody's paid their bill supposedly, right?
Everybody's got
No, we got
received
the
their
bills.
bill.
They've received them.
No, I thought they were supposed to pay by December 13th.
Well, there's probably, there's sending the bills out, there's the collection of the bills, and then there's the distribution
Distribution of the
from the
bill.
county
Yeah, that's
to
the
the
problem.
entities that receive it.
And that's the second.
That's the problem.
Second payment. You know, we're working on getting the first payment, which is 55% of the dollars collected. That 55%, usually we have a rate of return of about 95% that we collect. I'm anticipating the next year and a half with especially with 3 tax bills this year, theoretically, we could have run into some problems. And we have to anticipate it.
Oh, I know.
You know, worst case scenario, so maybe not, we collect 90% of it, you know, so it could be a drop of 5% could be $100,000,
Yeah.
and that's a lot.
Any,
That's a lot of money.
any other discussion on the motion? All right. Mr. Secretary, will you please call the question?
Trustee Belundy,
Yes.
trustee Santana.
Yes.
Trustee Monahan.
Yes.
Trustee Narayan. Trustee Fosco.
Yes.
Trustee Saluda, yes. Trustee Pesco.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay. Be there no need for an executive session. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Trustee Fosco, do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Monahan.